Hey, how's it going, everybody, and welcome to
Until We Go Out. I'm Sean.
I'm Sean, and this is episode 2. Alright, what do we got on the list for today?
So, we got something with George Zimmerman.
George Zimmerman, as I recall, is that fine young gentleman who is a dick.
Fine?
I did call him a dick, didn't I?
Yeah, okay.
So
you did retract your statement.
He was the gentleman, if I remember correctly, who was allegedly the murderer of a young man by the name of Trayvon Martin. And I say murderer, is that correct? I think we could call him a murderer.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to argue that point.
He never went to jail for it, but
yeah,
he's guilty in my book.
Was he found not guilty?
Yeah.
I don't know. He was found, the internet deemed him being a dick. You don't shoot somebody over Skittles. General rule of thumb today, if you can take away anything from this video, don't shoot people. Generally not a good thing to do.
Don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick.
So, on Twitter, he posted a picture of Trayvon Martin's body, and the caption was, "One man army."
One man army.
And there's Trayvon Martin's dead body on the floor.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Normally I like to play devil's advocate here, but, for this one, I don't think I can find a justification. This is a great moment to plug Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over. Not sponsored, just kids, don't drink and drive. It is bad. And with that being said, don't do drugs and drive either.
No.
So yeah, we're gonna keep that. But moving right along, so what happened with TomorrowWorld is basically things got a little bit out of hand, and the event organizers, to their dismay, got shut down. Now, not the event itself, but the roads going in and out to the event were shut down by local police because they were overcrowded, and basically they could not handle the amount of people moving. So, a good transition for this is an interesting story that I first heard about a few years back, but has actually been since proven to be true, is bioluminescent sea turtles. Now, this is something of, I would call it a natural wonder, but basically what's going on is off the Solomon Islands, we have biofluorescent sea turtles. Yeah, so these turtles, they glow, so if you want to rave with anything, you could totally rave with one of these turtles. So, if we could reshoot Finding Nemo, I would definitely want some partying rave turtles in there. Have you heard about these French people?
I have, yes. How they stole a puppy from a homeless man.
Yeah, you want to elaborate on this, Eddie?
Yeah, so these two French people thought that they were helping out a puppy by drugging it and then taking it from a homeless man. I feel really bad, though, for the guy, because it was his only friend.
Yeah, well, it sounds like it. To be honest, if I'm hanging out with my friends and somebody came in and drugged and kidnapped you, I'd probably be pretty upset. That being said, if somebody came in and kidnapped my dog, some good things to actually talk about today. In the news, he went before the UN and he announced his plan to help out these refugees. His idea is that he's going to bring internet via Wi-Fi and I guess mobile devices, and for the most part, none of these people have had internet, at least in the form that we look at in our cell phones and the technology that we have, for the past half a decade to a decade. And even then, if they did have a computer a decade ago, it's not what we have now.
No.
So it's funny because technology progresses so fast, something that we take for granted now, they never had access to, or if they did, it was limited and it wasn't what it is now. This is something that a lot of people over there are experiencing for the first time, and I gotta thank Mark for doing what he's doing, because honestly it's some of the best news I've heard all day, and a lot of people are going to overlook it and say that, it's a publicity stunt, it's PR, you know, it's just trying to make him look good. But the honest truth is, it's something we overlook, but it could be life-changing, especially for these people who have been secluded in this war-torn part of the world for so many years. I think it's something that's great, and I got to applaud him for his efforts. Moving on. That was a lot. You have anything to say?
No, man, you pretty much covered everything on Facebook.
All right. In Pennsylvania. You hear about this?
Yeah, no, I heard about this.
Basically, we go from very smart individuals doing great things like Mark Zuckerberg to Pennsylvania, where apparently there was an 18-wheeler transporting cheese slices. And what happened there is it overturned and cheese spilled out across the highway. And the health department actually needed to issue a warning not to
eat the cheese.
Yeah, not to eat the cheese. Something you would not think that in this day and age we would need to do. In Pennsylvania, the health department literally needed to say, hey people, don't eat this cheese. Everybody who's a hippy-dippy has been protesting since the 70s about people basically drilling or trying to drill in the Arctic and in Alaska. Ironically enough, global warming has increased the surface area where we can actually drill and explore for new oil resources because of this melting ice. So we have more melting ice, we have more land, more seabed for us to explore now that the sea ice has retracted, as it were. So basically this past couple of years there's been a lot of back and forth between both parties and from different people around the world, of course, too. That being said, we're specifically talking about Royal Dutch Shell today and what they've announced, and it's pretty big news. So earlier in the year, a lot of environmentalists, myself included, were upset when Obama signed off the permits so that Dutch Shell could begin exploratory drilling in the Alaskan region, obviously controlled by the United States. What happened, though, today, or the other day actually, is something that nobody was expecting, not even myself, and that is that they announced that they are not, and for the foreseeable future, going to be drilling or going to be further exploring the Alaskan region for oil. They're not going to be doing any drilling in the area.
Water.
Yes.
Running water.
I think you heard of this as well. You want to tell the people what's going on?
So, today, was it today or was it yesterday?
I think
they actually found it.
I think it was, well, today it went viral.
Yeah.
So, good man, Mark Zuckerberg today in the news went before the UN General. The UN General was there. He went to the fucking UN.
He went fucking somewhere.
He went to the fucking thing, right?
He did this shit somewhere in the fucking world.
He did some fucking shit though. Mark Ruffalo, Mark Zuckerberg, Mark Wahlberg, they all did some shit today.
Oh wait, hold on. Speaking of Mark Wahlberg, did you hear that his family's opening up their restaurant food chain?
We talking about the fucking Wahlburgers?
Yeah, they're opening one up in Lake Farmingdale.
Oh shit, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should go.
Fuck yeah.
Alright. So, Mark Zuckerberg, some good things to actually talk about today. In the news, he went before the UN and he announced his plan to help out these refugees. His idea is that he's going to bring internet via Wi-Fi and I guess mobile devices, like distributing, I guess, cheap cell phones or something to that effect. I could be completely bullshitting all this, but it's all over the news today, all over Facebook, obviously. He controls Facebook, so
yeah,
that is one way to get your point across. But he's doing some good stuff. Basically, he's giving free internet to the refugees from the Syrian crisis. Well, something that most people are not talking about in major news publications right now It's something that is going to affect millions of people's lives, and it's something that a lot of us take for granted. I mean, if you're watching this video right now, you know, you might not realize it, but every day when I leave my house, I have my cell phone in my pocket. My cell phone is connected to the internet, and the internet is literally the amalgamation of everything that has ever been thought of, written down, or produced. Every thought that anybody's ever had, any questions you could ever ask, the internet has all the information that you could ever want, along with all the communication that I mean, how do we communicate on a daily basis? It's literally through the internet.
Yeah.
And you look at some devastating scenarios like Hurricane Sandy, Superstorm Sandy for that matter here. We literally had communications cut, you know, 95% of the island lost power. Seeing as everyone has cell phones, the cell phone towers went down for a brief period of time as well. But when they were backed up by the local power authority and also, you know, the different cell phone providers, when they got back up on temporary power, basically Facebook was the first thing I was on the next day after the storm was over. Jesus.
After the storm was after.
So Facebook is something that we take for granted, but it's a very unique communication device. It's something that we use every day, that we take for granted, that we don't think much of. But the thing is, I don't necessarily call people anymore. I don't even text a lot, you know, unless it's for work. I don't email. Facebook is something that I check daily, even if I don't post something. It's something that isn't very necessary, but it's something that everybody has. But it is an excellent form of communication. Take, for example, Superstorm Sandy. A few years back, 95% of the island lost power. And that being said, cell phone communications were cut as well. But the next day, after temporary power was resumed to the cell towers, you know, even though 95% of the people in their homes still didn't have power, a lot of people communicated through Facebook, because platforms like news media and all the other things that you would generally get your information from require power. Even further so, a lot of communities here on Long Island lost their homes completely. They were washed away. And Facebook, through mobile devices, was a platform that people used to find out information about shelters and where they could find food. It was where the community went to organize and gather information and also post, you know, who has this? We need a generator here. You know, we need medicine. We need food. We need this. This is where we're all going to be meeting up. You know, we created temporary shelters, you know, just the community, not, you know, FEMA, not any of these other organizations. Before anybody came down here, the community organized through Facebook, which is something that seemingly 10 years ago wouldn't have been able to happen, especially not on the scale that it did, and it's not as soon as it did. But you look at these refugees, and for the most part, none of these people have had internet, at least in the form that we look at in our cell phones and the technology that we have, for the past half a decade to a decade. And even then, if they did have a computer a decade ago, it's not what we have now.
No.
So it's funny because technology progresses so fast. Something that we take for granted now, they never had access to, or if they did, it was limited and it wasn't what it is now. This is something that a lot of people over there are experiencing for the first time, and I gotta thank Mark for doing what he's doing, because honestly, it's some of the best news I've heard all day. And a lot of people are gonna overlook it and say that, you know, it's a publicity stunt, it's PR, you know, it's just trying to make him look good. But the honest truth is, it's something we overlook, but it could be life-changing, especially for these people who have been secluded in this war-torn part of the world for so many years. I think it's something that's great, and I got to applaud him for his efforts. Moving on. That was a lot. Do you have anything to say?
No, man, you pretty much covered everything on Facebook.
All right. Something I saw on Facebook today, speaking of, water on Mars.
Water.
Yes.
Running water.
I think you heard of this as well. You want to tell the people what's going on?
So, today, was it today or was it yesterday?
I think
they actually found it.
I think it was, well, today it went viral.
Yeah.
I don't know when they found it.
Well, they found running water on Mars, which is
What up, bruh?
What up?
I just took a test on a Monday.
What the fuck?
Going up on a
So the other
Monday.
day, I was like, I had a test on like a Tuesday last week, and he was like, I was like, yeah, I have a test. He's like, what? You have a test on a Tuesday? I was like, yeah, I have a test on like every random day of the week in college.
That sucks.
Who's
He's
test
like,
on
what?
Tuesdays?
Nobody.
Like, well, you only have tests like 2 days a week, so.
Yeah. So running water on Mars, huh?
Yeah,
That's
man.
that's pretty intense. So I've yet to see The Martian. It's not out yet. But interesting fact is we're actually planning on sending people to Mars, which I think is amazing. That being said, I'm pretty sure it's a one-way mission. In the movie The Martian, the whole plot point I think is around him getting stuck on Mars. Something goes horribly wrong, and he can't return home. The ironic plot twist with that being in real life, when we're actually planning on sending people to Mars, we don't have a game plan to get them home.
No.
At least not
We don't have the technology to get back.
not for the foreseeable future. I mean, if they're going to plan on staying on Mars, and the way technology's progressed over the years, the fact that we're talking about even going to Mars now, in another 50 years, if they actually have the technology now to send them there, if we could get them back home, if it's not a suicide mission, it's a very long-term mission, and I don't think that I would personally apply to go, although I think I did sign up at one point completely hammered for that mission. No, they have about 100 candidates. I am not one of them.
No, I think they're cutting it down to 20.
Yeah, that's what I heard too. So we're almost there. We got our group that we're going to send, and I got to say, Godspeed.
I mean, honestly, I'd like to go, but for like a week.
Yeah, like I'd go to Mars on a vacation.
Yeah.
I'd go on a Martian vacation. That seems pretty
Die.
cool. If we die on Mars,
That'd be cool.
that would be
we would be
cool.
the first people buried
People
on Mars.
die on Mars.
That would be something.
That we would make history.
That being said, I would like to take a trip, to the International Space Station if somebody could set that up, just for a week, just to go chill in outer space. Because that is one thing that I could say, the 7 wonders of the world, everyone says you got to go check these out. These things are the best things.
I've been to 2 of them.
Yeah, you've been to 2. I've been to 1 as well. And
Where did you go?
it doesn't really matter. What for the point of this story is.
Oh, I mean, I was intrigued.
Oh, well, I was intrigued as well. But the point of the story was, I want to go to the International Space Station for a week just to look at the Earth. Because they say these are the 7 wonders of the world.
Yeah.
To me, the biggest wonder there is the fact that we have this giant ball that
You're just floating in the middle of space.
just sustaining life, just doing its thing.
Yeah.
And as far as I'm aware, the only one with life like us. But that being said, I definitely agree with Neil deGrasse Tyson on this one that probably intelligent life somewhere else out there in the universe.
No, I definitely believe in that. Yeah.
And if there is,
The
I hope
universe
they
is a
watch
big
our
place.
videos. Yeah. This is actually a very popular series on other parts of the universe. Speaking of which, I got to tell you about this story that I heard about in Pennsylvania. You hear about this?
Yeah, no, I heard about this.
Basically, we go from very smart individuals doing great things like Mark Zuckerberg to Pennsylvania, where apparently there was an 18-wheeler transporting cheese slices. And what happened there is it overturned and cheese spilled out across the highway. And the
Yep.
health department actually needed to issue a warning not to
Eat the cheese.
not to eat the cheese. Something you would not think that in this day and age we would need to do. In Pennsylvania, the health department literally needed to say, hey people, don't eat this cheese. Given if I saw a giant pile of melted cheese on the side of the road, I'd probably be tempted myself to go out there and just shovel it into my mouth.
I would judge a little bit.
I would
Just
definitely
saying.
not mind your judgment. I'm a cheese guy, and
I like good cheeses.
I would say I would probably be tempted. That being said, people don't go out and eat things that you find off the ground, even though, you know, let's be real, food does come out of the ground. Potatoes, carrots,
More potatoes.
truffles, those are expensive and disgusting, and people eat those. But for the most part, you know, clean things. If you're not growing a for the most part, if you're not growing food in a garden and you're not picking it and cleaning it and cooking it, don't eat cheese off the ground. That's the takeaway here. Just don't do it. It's not good. Nobody is judging you, but I'm judging. I'm judging. People,
No,
the
I would
fact that
judge
they
too.
needed to do this, I really don't hope that
You know,
anybody ate.
Did anybody actually eat the cheese?